Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Super Sports Central. Today we have my Week 18 NFL predictions. So before we start, I would just like to say my thoughts and prayers are with Damar Hamlin, and we continue to hope for the best. Getting into the predictions, last week I had a record of 11-4, which brings my overall record on the season to 153-88. So this week is the final week of the regular season. All games are in division. Starting off on Saturday, we have two games. Starting off with the Chiefs visiting the Raiders. So the Raiders took the 49ers to overtime with Jarrett Stidham at quarterback, and it was very surprising, especially being able to put up 34 points against one of the best defenses in the NFL with their backup quarterback. The Raiders are going to continue to start Jarrett Stidham this week, and for the Chiefs, they could actually clinch the top seed in the AFC with a win and a Bills loss. Now, I could see the Raiders hanging around in this one like they did last week against the 49ers, but I think the Chiefs will end up getting the win at 34-27. Up next, we have the Jaguars hosting the Titans. So the winner of this game will win the AFC South and make the playoffs. And in the chance there is a tie, that tiebreaker would go to the Jaguars. They would advance with a tie. The Titans, they're dealing with a ton of injuries. They're going to be starting Josh Dobbs at quarterback for the second week in a row. And now, I don't think that's the right decision. I think they should be starting rookie quarterback Malik Willis. Because, yes, they haven't been great with Malik Willis, but they've limited the offense with him at quarterback. They should start Malik Willis and let him throw the ball. And that's just my opinion. The Titans have already made up their mind, and they're going to start Josh Dobbs. And Dobbs isn't a great quarterback. And the only way I see the Titans winning this game is if Derrick Henry has a monster game and is the entire offense. The Titans have lost 5 straight games, and the Jaguars have been good down the stretch of the season. I think that trend continues for both teams. And the Jaguars punch their ticket to the playoffs, winning the AFC South and defeating the Texans by a score of 24-13. Moving to the games on Sunday, we have the Falcons hosting the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers have nothing to play for after they walked up the NFC North last week with a victory over the Panthers. And they're also walked into the 4 seed, but Coach Todd Bowles did say the Buccaneers will not be resting starters this week. Now, injuries are always a big concern, but for the Buccaneers, they've struggled all season long offensively, and they were finally able to get some big offensive plays last week. Mike Evans finally got going at over 200 yards, and I think they should look to build that momentum, especially offensively. So I think not resting the starters is actually a good decision here for the Buccaneers. And the Falcons, they haven't been great lately. They are coming off a win, but unless the Buccaneers end up surprisingly resting starters, I will take the Buccaneers by a score of 24-16. Up next, we have the Bills hosting the Patriots. So this is a big game for both teams. The Patriots are playing for a potential playoff spot and will get in with a win. The Bills are also playing for teammate Damar Hamlin. Obviously, as I said before, thoughts and prayers are with him. And they're also playing for the top seat in the AFC. And the number 1 seed scenarios are a bit confusing because we don't know what's going to happen with the Bills-Bengals game. But this is a game I could see going either way. I think the Bills will get the win here over the Patriots and knock them out of the playoffs. I have the Bills defeating their division rival, winning by a score of 27-21. Up next, we have the Vikings visiting the Bears. So the Vikings, they have the chance to potentially get the 2nd seed in the NFC. And it seems like they're going to be playing their starters, but not for the entire game. Meanwhile, for the Bears, they do have something to play for, despite being 3-13, and they're playing for the number 1 overall pick, because if they lose and the Texans win, then the Bears will have the number 1 pick. Both teams are coming off awful performances last week. The Vikings got destroyed by the Packers, and the Bears were demolished by the by the Lions. The Vikings need to get back on track for the playoffs. The Bears are also starting Nathan Peterman at quarterback after Justin Fields suffered a hip injury last week. So now I think that gives the Bears essentially no chance to win this game, and the Vikings, they get the big bounce-back win, defeating the Bears by a score of 33-10. Up next, we have the Colts hosting the Texans. So the Texans, if they lose, they're going to have the number 1 pick. But if they win and the Bears lose, then the Bears will have the number 1 pick, as I said before. And the Texans, they're playing the Colts, who have been brutal lately. They've lost 6 straight and 9 of their last 10. And now this is a game I could actually see the Texans winning if the number 1 pick wasn't on the line. Now, I really don't think the Texans will try to win this game. But I think the Colts win this game 21-20. Up next, we have the Dolphins hosting the Jets. So the Dolphins are fighting for a playoff spot, and they could make the playoffs with a win and a Patriots loss. The Dolphins will also be starting Skylar Thompson or Teddy Bridgewater. They've already ruled out Tua, and it seems like it's going to be Skylar Thompson, as Teddy Bridgewater has a dislocated pinky. Now, Thompson has played a bit this season, and he actually played the majority of the game against the Jets when these two teams played, and the Jets hosted this matchup, and the Dolphins ended up getting destroyed. Now we face the Jets again, but this time with a lot more on the line. The Jets got Mike White back from injury last week, but he was not very good, and their offense was still only able to put up 6 points. I could see this game going either way, but surprisingly, I'll take the Dolphins winning this game by a score of 23-17. But this game for me is a true coin flip. But I have the Dolphins. Up next, we have the Saints hosting the Panthers. Both teams have nothing to play for, and I don't think either team is that good. The Saints have been better lately, so I will take them with the win. But even if these two teams had something to play for, I still don't think this game would be any good. Again, it's a true coin flip for me. But I'll take the Saints in a close, boring game, 22-20. Moving on, we have the Browns visiting the Steelers. So the Steelers could make the playoffs, and Mike Tomlin could keep a streak alive of never finishing below 500. He's gone 15 seasons without a losing record. Now the Steelers, they could make the postseason with a win and losses by the Dolphins and Patriots. The Browns have nothing to play for, but they could play spoiler for the second week in a row by ending the Steelers' playoff chances, as they helped end the Commanders' playoff hopes last week. Now, this is a game I could see going either way, but I'll take the Steelers, keeping their playoff hopes alive, even though they will need some help. But the Steelers, they get the win by a score of 24-23. Up next, we have the Bengals hosting the Ravens. So the Bengals, they could clinch the AFC North with a win this week over the Ravens. And the Ravens, they might get Lamar Jackson back from injury, which would greatly help their offense, which has struggled mightily without him. And this is a game I could see going either way, especially I think Lamar Jackson could give the Ravens offense a much-needed spark, although he could be rusty after missing a few weeks with his knee injury. But I'll take the Bengals winning this game and clinching the AFC North, winning by a score of 27-24. Up next, we have the Chargers visiting the Broncos. So the Chargers, they've clinched a playoff spot, but they will not be resting starters. They're going to be focused on getting the 5 seed in the AFC, which they will get with either a win or a Ravens loss. The Broncos, they've been bad this entire season. Now, they were competitive last week against the Chiefs, but I have the Chargers getting the win here. In a somewhat close game, I think the Broncos can be competitive again, but I don't think they're going to be getting the win. Chargers win this 28-23. Up next, we have the Giants visiting the Eagles. So the Eagles might get Jalen Hurts back after he missed the past 2 weeks with a shoulder injury. And the Eagles, they actually haven't locked up the NFC East or the top seed, but they could clinch both with a win this week. And the Giants, they're going to be playing their starters. Even though they have nothing to play for, they're locked into the 6th seed no matter what happens this week. The Eagles, they dominated the Giants when the Giants were home. Now, the Eagles host this matchup, but I don't think this is going to be as one-sided as it was the past time. But I still have the Eagles winning this game somewhat easily by a score of 35-17. Up next, we have the Cardinals visiting the 49ers. The 49ers actually have a chance to steal the number 1 seed in the NFC away from the Eagles, and they could do that with a win and a Eagles loss. The Cardinals will be starting David Blau at quarterback again after he started last week in the loss to the Falcons. And they will also be without their top wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins. The 49ers don't seem to be resting starters, and I will take the 49ers winning this game, winning easily by a score of 31-6. Up next, we have the Seahawks visiting the Rams. So, the Seahawks are still fighting for a playoff spot. This is a huge game for them. They need to win to have any chance to get into the postseason. And they're going to need a win and a Packers loss to the Lions. Now, the Rams, they're not playing for anything, not even their own draft pick, because they traded that to the Lions in the Matthew Stafford trade. The Seahawks are coming off a pretty good defensive performance against the Jets, where they only got 6 points. And I could see that carrying over against a decent Rams offense. And this is a must-win game here for the Seahawks. I think they get the win, and just hope the Lions beat the Packers, and that the Seahawks win this game by a score of 26-21. Up next, we have the Commanders hosting the Cowboys. So the Cowboys could actually still win the NFC East and earn the top seed in the NFC. They would need a win, an Eagles loss to clinch the NFC East. And for the top seed, they would need a win and losses by the Eagles and 49ers. Now, the Commanders, they've been eliminated from playoff contention last week. So they'll be starting rookie quarterback Sam Howell, a 5th-round pick out of North Carolina. And we haven't seen him play a down in the NFL. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do for the Commanders and what the Commanders have at quarterback. But I think he could be okay for the Commanders in his first start, but I don't think he's going to do enough to lead them to victory, and the Cowboys win this game pretty easily by a score of 27-13. And finally, Sunday Night Football. We will have a live watch party for this game starting about 8:10 Eastern Time on Sunday. This is an absolutely massive game for both teams. The Packers will get into the postseason with a win, and the Lions will get in with a win and a Seahawks loss. The Lions beat the Packers the first time around, but the Packers were just playing terrible football at that point of the season, and they've been much better offensively and overall as a team. In fact, especially offensively, as I think they're going to be able to score a lot more than 9 points this time around. The Lions, they've also been good lately, winning 7 of their last 9, but I think the Packers are going to get the win here. I think they're the better team, and this game's also in Lambeau. I have the Packers winning on Sunday Night Football and punching their ticket to the postseason with a 31-28 win over the Lions. So those are my Week 18 NFL predictions. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn on notifications so don't miss any of their upcoming videos. I do my best to post as often as possible. Check out the community tab of my channel where you guys can vote on who you think will win some of this week's big games. But thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment. I do my best to post as often as possible, and I will see you in the next video.